collapse into the most destructive war that the world had ever seen, we need to go back in time. We're going to go back 100 years to the Congress of Vienna. Now, after the Napoleon Wars, all of the European powers, they came together in Vienna to redraw the European map. Prince Metternich of Austria, he emerges as the star of the Congress, and he comes up with this concept called the balance of power system. Now, this is important because the balance of power kept the peace in Europe by forming strategic alliances so that there was no dominant power. So one nation state wouldn't be tempted to militarize because it would be confronted by an equally strong geopolitical enemy nearby. And this worked for the most part until 1870, when the German Federation, which was a whole bunch of independent German-speaking states, no central government, no army, it all consolidated with some military help from their powerful neighbor Prussia to form a nation state, Germany. Now, this made a big difference to the balance of power. Under the leadership of Otto von Bismarck, the Prime Minister of Prussia, who became the first German Chancellor and is actually one of my favorite historical figures, I'll probably do a video just on him in the future because he is fascinating. Anyway, Germany under him became one of the most powerful economic powers in the world in under 20 years, okay? Right up there next to the US and Japan. Now, this is important, okay? Because the new German state also inherited an emperor, the King of Prussia, Kaiser Wilhelm I. Now, Bismarck and the Kaiser, they got along pretty well, mostly because the Kaiser took a back seat and just let Bismarck run the show, even though he technically had more power. Now, this tells you a little bit about the kind of guy that Bismarck was. The Kaiser was once quoted as saying, "It is difficult to be emperor under such a chancellor." So Germany is getting stronger and becoming a serious world player. And now we've pretty much set the stage for World War I. Things are going pretty smoothly for Germany until the Kaiser dies in 1888. Then his son takes the throne for just 99 days before he also dies, this time of cancer. And then his son, Kaiser Wilhelm II, becomes the emperor, and it kind of all goes downhill from there. So let me tell you about this Kaiser. His left arm was badly damaged at birth. Historians say that he had a lot of psychological issues because of that and a really screwed up relationship with his parents on top of everything. Now, he was an intelligent man by all accounts, but he was also a very aggressive and insecure man. Kind of like he always had something to prove. Now, it wasn't long before he and Bismarck butted heads. He was impatient with Bismarck's careful, strategic foreign policy. He felt that Germany was way late to the colonial game, and he was just anxious to seize some territory because, it just looked like so much fun, right? Again, insecure. Now, the Kaiser was not so much concerned with strategic objectives as he was with just showing off his power. He was impulsive, irrational. Now, after one too many arguments, the Kaiser did the unthinkable and fired Bismarck, despite, or perhaps because, of his massive popularity amongst the public. Now, with Bismarck out of the way, the Kaiser was free to blow full steam ahead on his imperial adventure, and the balance of power began to fall apart. Now, as the Kaiser burned bridges and relationships, a new alliance between Russia, France, and Great Britain, called the Triple Entente, formed against the German Austro-Hungarian alliance. For many other reasons that we won't get into, by 1914 there were all sorts of tensions brewing across the European continent, particularly in the Balkans. Then came the straw that broke the camel's back. In June 1914, a Serbian nationalist shot and killed the Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand. You've probably heard of this event, and it's commonly said that this was the trigger that started World War I. Although, there is an argument to be made that were it not for the personality of the Kaiser, that event would have never actually spiraled into what it did. Now, the Austro-Hungarians are obviously pissed and they want revenge, but they also know that the Serbs have Russia on their side, and that also means that they have Britain and France. Remember that Triple Entente alliance? So come on, they're angry, they're not suicidal. So what do? Well, they go to Germany. Now, the Kaiser secretly, although now infamously, gave them a so-called carte blanche, a blank check to go to war with the full backing of the German military, should it lead to that. So Armed with an inflated confidence and their secret weapon, they go back to Serbia with an impossible ultimatum that they know the Serbs are never going to be able to meet. And that's how the spiral begins. The Serbians call up Russia. Austria-Hungary calls up Germany and says, hey, remember that blank check? Yeah, we're going to have to cash in on that. Then they declare war. Russia hits up her buddies, France and Great Britain, and is like, hey, come on, you got to help me out here. And in less than a week, World War I had begun.